Hi everyone, and welcome to the Soul Illumination reading for the sign of Sagittarius. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So hi everyone and welcome. Now we're going to be looking at an area of focus that your soul would like to illuminate for you at this time, Sagittarius. We are going to then be pulling some additional clarifier cards to dive a little deeper, to take a look at a block or a challenge in that area. We'll be looking at advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that block or challenge. And then we'll be looking at a level of abundance or spiritual growth that wants to come in for you in that area. All right, so Sagittarius. Now, I know it's taken me a while to get your reading out. I definitely took a break over the holidays, but I hope you've all had a wonderful month of December. And now that we've moved into the new year, I hope your new year is off to a great start. Okay, so Sagittarius, we have your incoming energies. This is the energy that you're sitting with right now. We have the Four of Cups. Now, the Four of Cups can be a card where we're sitting in a place of review. It can be where we get stuck on an emotional level in a place of dissatisfaction or a general sense of dissatisfaction with something in our life. And often this card recently has been really representing to me where we feel like we are kind of on the outside looking in, where there's this element of the Three Cups that this individual is looking at, and then there's this little Monty Python hand coming through here. It's one of my favorite groups there to make movies. But the Monty Python hand coming here with holding that chalice, that cup that this individual is really not looking at. There's a sense of this individual being stuck looking at cups that are not his own, that are outside of himself. There's a sense of when we get into this general energy of dissatisfaction, we're often looking at things outside of ourselves to fulfill us, to make us feel good, to meet our needs. And yet what we're not doing is realizing we have to look in our own cup. So this would be like looking at, let's say, our work life and saying, well, it's not giving me a sense of purpose. Or this would be like looking at your friend group and saying, well, they're not making me feel happy and supported. But in reality, there's something that you yourself are missing. It could be that sense of purpose needs to come from someplace outside of work, or you need to feel happy and supported in yourself first before you can seek that from the outside world. Something along those lines. Now, with the King of Cups coming in as what your soul would like you to focus on. Now, this is very interesting. The King of Cups prominently holds his chalice, his cup. And what's in that cup? It's the cup of all the things he needs to have met, the dreams he needs to have the freedom to follow, the things that emotionally tie him to his life experience, that give him that sense of connection. Now, for many of you, I feel like there could almost be here where you're trying to decide where to bring your cup. When I see these two cards situated like this, like there's a sense of kind of holding the truest part of yourself back instead of truly sitting with your cup and almost like letting others come to you with theirs. There's a sense of, well, who do I give myself to? And I think for many of you, there's a focus here. What your soul is trying to focus you on is the importance of your emotions and the emotional connection to life. But that comes first from yourself, from honoring your needs, from honoring your emotions, and really diving deep. Now, the King of Cups does represent Scorpionic energy. And so Scorpio as a sign is really all about diving into the depths of their emotions and really being able to swim down there, if that makes sense, instead of where a lot of the other signs might feel almost smothered or suffocated by being down in those depths. The King of Cups is fully in his place of power. So we'll see what wants to come up here, but there is something here about really getting comfortable with what you're feeling and really utilizing that in every aspect of your life. There's a sense of leading from what you feel and how you feel and kind of not holding yourself back. Now, the Queen of Cups is your main underlying energy. underscored by the Eight of Cups and the Two of Wands. So the Queen of Pentacles is the energy of Capricorn, but it's the energy of the nurturing mother. It's someone who is very focused on growing something in the physical. And it's when we get very focused on one thing with a long-term vision, when we think of a mother, she knows that not only will the pregnancy take a long time to grow, to give birth, but then once she gives birth to that child, she has to continue to dedicate time and energy to watch that child grow to an adult. And there's a sense here with the Queen of Pentacles of really wanting to nurture something in your life, wanting to have that patient, dedicated focus. But underneath that, with the Eight of Cups and the Two of Wands, there's a sense here of having made a decision to go in a new direction or to take a new path, and one in which really pushed you to walk away from something that was no longer emotionally fulfilling. The Two of Wands is prominent here. There's that sense of making that decision. Which wand, which course of action do I take? That can also be sometimes where we not just go in a different direction, but where we actually choose to act differently in our life. It's like saying, okay, I'm at a crossroads. I can keep doing what I've been doing, or I can choose from this point forward to act in a different way. And that also could, again, effectively with the Eight of Cups, have you leave something behind. And that could be actually leaving behind this general sense of dissatisfaction. It could be maybe that you left a friend group or a social setting. It could be that you walked away maybe from a workplace that wasn't supportive, something along those lines. And now you're ready to dedicate yourself to growing something. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pull some additional cards here to really dive deep into that King of Cups. Why are your emotions being so focused on at this time, Sagittarius? Now, Sagittarius, you are a fire sign. You are the mutable fire sign. So you are a sign that is meant to really run free. You are the truth seeker in the Zodiac as well. So you are really meant to go out there and kind of, I like to always look at you guys as the honeybee, to go out there and have new experiences and really be able to integrate those and kind of cross-pollinate. Bring your experiences to other people. And often maybe even bring two different experiences together to create something new. There's that spiritual component to your sign as well. Now we have the Princess of Swords, which in this deck is the Page of Swords. This is someone who wants to gather more information. It can also be someone who is kind of spying on someone else. But there is a sense here with the Page of Swords, and this is your main challenge point. The Page of Swords is when we're in a place of gathering more information, of wanting to see the truth of something, but understanding we don't have all the information. But with Justice coming in after that, for some of you, you guys could actually be gathering information about a legal course of action. This could be for some of you where, you want to, let's say, separate from a partner and you're looking at how to proceed with a divorce. This could be where you are looking at how to start a business and you are maybe making the decision to walk away from a standard 9-to-5 that you've been in for a long time. This could be where you are looking at maybe how to bring more balance into your life as well, because justice is the ultimate balance. There's that sense of ultimate harmony, of a higher divine order to things when justice comes in. And for some of you, you might be sitting in that place of really trying to understand what that is, what needs to be brought into a level of divine balance. But with the Princess of Swords or the Page of Swords, there's a sense of kind of getting stuck in that energy of maybe watching someone else. This could be where maybe you've been gathering a lot of information. You went back to school or something like that, or you've been watching a lot of how-tos or tutorials. And then there's this sense of, okay, it's time to make that decision and fully go through with something, and yet there may be that sense of, I still need to get more information. I still need, like that feeling of I'll never be the master. I will never be I'll never have enough information. And sometimes you just have to go for it, because at the heart of your reading, this is what your soul your spirit really is highlighting for you to say, this is your advice. Ace of Swords. There's a sense of clarity with the Ace of Swords. it's understanding your truth as well. So sometimes I look at it as it can be that inspiration, that idea, or that clarity that comes through all of a sudden when you realize a core truth about your life or yourself. And that could be for some of you where you maybe are looking at the making or breaking of a contract, and there is this kind of realization that's coming through that says, yeah, it's time for me to walk away from something, or it's time for me to sign on the dotted line for something. And have that faith that it's time, that you have enough information at this point. Now, on the other side of this, what's waiting to come in for you is the Seven of Pentacles and the Prince of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords. So you're going from the Page to the Knight, where the Page is just kind of gathering information in the background. They're curious. The Knight is someone who moves forward. There's a course of action with the Knight of Swords. The Seven of Pentacles is a card where we're kind of stuck in that review phase of looking at what we have in the physical and saying, do I want to continue to invest in this? Or how do I want to continue to invest in growing what I have? There's a sense of going from the 7 to the 8. And the 8 of Pentacles is when we put our head down and we just keep working. We just keep perfecting something because we've made that decision here, the Two of Wands. We've made the decision as to the direction we're going, as to what we want to commit ourselves to. And I think for some of you, there's a realization around something that maybe isn't satisfying in your current course of what you have in the physical experience. Because your Queen of Pentacles is saying, I want to dedicate myself to something. I want to nurture something. I want to grow something. And there may be something here where it's time to share. The Knight of Swords is someone who shares their truth, who, again, in the sharing of their truth, they move their life forward in some capacity. They share with someone, hey, I really want to, take this new job, or I want to start my own business, and I need to, this could be like, or maybe Seven of Pentacles, you've been sitting at a certain place and maybe having a side hustle and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? Do I commit? Do I go? Do I not? That kind of thing. And you realize, you know what? I'm dissatisfied with my work experience because it's not meeting my needs. My side hustle is what would meet that, what would really allow me to emotionally connect with my life experience. I'm allowing myself to see that, and now I need to share that with either someone in my life that it might impact, or I need to share that just with others that I've made this decision. I've made the decision to really focus on this aspect of my life and grow. And that could be where you share that with the world, where you say, I've opened my doors, or I got the divorce, or I'm, signing on the contract to move to a new company, move to a new place even. It could be something along those lines. But there is something that needs to be shared, spoken on, a truth spoken on around committing to something. And I think many of you know what this truth is. You know what is no longer satisfying. You know that if you had to go in a new direction, what wasn't satisfying? What did you have to leave behind emotionally to get to where you're ready to focus and grow and commit? Now, the Nine of Cups, this is your secondary underlying energy. It's that wish our heart makes. It's when we say, wow, I've got so much to be grateful for, but there is a cup missing between the 9 and the 10, which is the ultimate kind of heart's fulfillment, that ultimate emotional connection. And I think for many of you, there's that realization of, what that wish is. It's the cup that's coming through right here, but it's time for you to firmly hold that cup, whatever that wish is, whether this is maybe committing to a new person, whether maybe you've had to go on that search of finding a new significant other, or maybe you've had to go on that search of finding yourself in what brings you joy. And maybe that's this new business undertaking. Maybe this is, again, fill in the blank. It could be, selling the house and becoming a nomad, something along those lines, whatever it becomes, but you are truly looking to dedicate yourself to something. All right, so let's go ahead here. I'm going to pull some additional clarifiers to look at these cards before I pull a couple final cards for you guys. So let's see what wants to come through here. But there is something that your soul is really saying. It's time to own your emotional self. It's time to start to trust that part, to lead from that part. Yeah, and here we have the Ace of Cups and Death. So there is this sense of, I think for many of you, releasing possibly something from the past. With the Ace of Cups, this is the potential for new love. It is also the potential for renewal of the self, a new connection. And there's almost a sense when death comes up like this of having to release a past part of yourself, a past version, and reconnecting to the self. So if many of you have been kind of on a journey of rediscovery of the self, and that could have come on the heels of a major change in your life, again, going in a new direction, taking a new course of action, taking a new job, changing career paths, having to walk away from a relationship and meet someone new. There's all these kinds of things that we go through where we kind of have to effectively say, that's not me anymore. But then if that's not me anymore, then who am I? What fills my cup? And for some of you, this may have to be a release of something you were tied to. Again, there is that Eight of Cups implied of having to walk away from something to get to the Nine of Cups to then effectively get to the Ten of Cups. So here's the Five of Cups. We go from the 4 to the 5. Now with Justice, the 5 of Cups is where something did not work out. This was a disappointment, possibly mourning the loss. I mean, for some of you, this could actually represent maybe having to go through truly either the death of a relationship, possibly some of you might have actually lost someone very important in your life. And that could have also been something that brought up, contracts and, wills and anything that's like legally tied to the justice system. But there's also a sense here too with the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups here is upright. The Three of Cups in the Five of Cups over here has been spilled. And there's that sense really coming through where there might have been an injustice or something that didn't maybe work out in your favor. It could also be, again, where maybe you felt in a past relationship or something, somebody might have used you or you poured a lot of yourself into something and it didn't amount to anything, or effectively you were used by someone, or a friend group, turned their backs on you. That can be all kinds of things with the Five of Cups. But with the Two of Pentacles and the Hierophant coming up here, there's definitely could be something around a disappointment. Truly, the Hierophant can represent marriage because it does represent those kind of higher laws and rules and things like that we choose to follow in our life. It can also be the energy of, I look at sometimes even religion, but the Two of Pentacles, there's a sense of juggling. There's a sense of, I think for some of you, of kind of maybe having been in the place where you were just, this could be where maybe you were just getting by day to day. You were just doing the little things, and maybe you were avoiding noticing that, your marriage is not making you happy. And suddenly you have to admit that to yourself and realize, oh my gosh, there is something here that's disappointing about that. Or this can be where you are, again, Hierophant can be anything we commit ourselves to. So there could be a commitment that you made in some capacity at some time. And that Two of Pentacles, maybe it was a commitment that ended up kind of maybe, again, becoming a distraction, or it was hard for you to juggle with your day-to-day. It became a burden. And in so doing, there was something that was disappointing for you guys, something that, you could be even realizing, wow, I wasted a lot of time just, wasting a lot of time. It could be like suddenly like, wow, I was committed to this career path because this is what I thought, I was supposed to do. I was supposed to become a lawyer. I was supposed to become a doctor or a teacher or whatever. You did the school, you got into the workforce, you worked many years in that industry, and then you realize something about it was not fulfilling to you, or something happened where you had to make a choice to walk away from it. And there's a realization of maybe how long you kind of spun your wheels before maybe even making that decision. Now with clarity, we have the World. So with the Ace of Swords, we have the World and the Five of Coins. There is a sense too, for many of you, I think, there's a major chapter closing with this Ace of Swords coming in. There's this realization, again, of kind of closing the door on a journey up to this point, again, where you had to kind of go through, I think, a lot of this, and maybe, again, gathering information as to how to leave something. Now, with the Five of Coins is the energy of being left out in the cold. It's the energy of loss. It can sometimes be that lack mentality where we just feel like we don't have enough in our physical experience and that nothing will be enough. This can go where we go through periods of, kind of economic crisis in our life, where we feel like we try to save and something just keeps coming up and taking from us. It can also be where maybe for some of you who have gone through, let's say, a breakup, or maybe having to leave one career path for another where there was a loss. You might have lost a job and it took a while to get back to that level in your work life. An earning potential. It could be where you chose to maybe walk away from something that was no longer emotionally supportive, but people turned their back on you because of that. This could be where for some of you, maybe you chose to maybe leave a relationship and maybe half of your friends chose your ex's side. It could be something along those lines. But I think there's a reality of realizing that the door to that time where you felt on the outside, or where you were left behind, or where you didn't have enough is done. There's a sense now of really allowing yourself to, I think, through the mind, realize that pattern, kind of integrate it so that now you can really get into the emotional part of your life experience. So with the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Moon. Now there's that sense coming in of a new opportunity, but that opportunity is unknown. It's almost like someone coming in and giving you that little gift of something. It could be seed money for something. It could be an inheritance sometimes, although sometimes that can be the Ten of Pentacles too. But it can be a gift that allows you to build anew on something that you've already laid the groundwork for. But there's a sense of the unknown. This would be like saying, okay, I'm going to, maybe you do have a little bit of savings and you're like, okay, this is the time where I'm going to leave my 9-to-5 and start my side hustle. And I'm going to just rely on the savings I have to get me through. And there's that sense with the Moon coming in that the way is unclear. You don't know if this is going to achieve, ultimate success that you're looking for, but there's a sense of having to make that decision, because the Ace of Coins is that fresh start. It's a gift from the divine. And it's allowing you, I think, for many of you to bring something to your life experience that you have wanted in your physical experience, but have not been able to have to this point. And then with the Knight of Swords, is a sense now of sharing that with someone else. This could be like saying, we've saved and saved and saved. We've watched the housing market. And, the one thing that I've always wanted in my life experience was to own a home, something like that. And so you finally say, you know what? I've realized I have not been, the one wanting to do that. I haven't wanted to bite the bullet and purchase a home and get a mortgage. But that's because I've been in this place of where I didn't have enough for so long. And so I've been clinging to what I have. But now with the Queen of Pentacles, you're like, I want to nurture something now. I'm ready to make that commitment. There's a sense here of getting ready to make a new commitment. Yes, and then there's the Star. Yes, communicating this dream, communicating to what has long felt dissatisfying in your life on an emotional level, and finally going out there and sharing that. Finally going out there and using that truth to close the past cycle and open the door to the new, and one in which really allows you to step into prosperity. It can be both physical prosperity, but also emotional prosperity. So we have the Queen of Swords and the Four of Swords. So the Queen of Swords, for many of you, you've been in a state of kind of rest, contemplation. For some of you, you might have just been the Four of Swords is when we're kind of reviewing the past. We're looking at the pain that we've gone through, heartbreak, disappointments, and really getting our truth out of that. We're finding the Three of Swords, which is the heartbreak and pain, and we're coming out with just one sword, putting the Three of Swords up on the wall and saying, okay, I've been in this place of kind of rest and rejuvenation. I needed to maybe give my mind a break. And now I'm moving forward with the truth and the clarity as to a new chapter that's looking to open up for me. And with the Queen of Swords, there's a sense of really getting clear on your story, on understanding your triumphs, your losses, what you've survived, and what this says about you as a person. And there's a clarity in that as well. I think for many of you, you've been kind of reflecting on what your story is. And maybe there could even be a new perspective on situations from the past where maybe at a certain point you were telling a story of woe, gosh, I had to go through all these obstacles, and I'm always the person that ends up unlucky in love, or I'm always the person that ends up, not making money or not getting the bonus like everybody else. It could be something along those lines. I'm not lucky in money. I'm not lucky in, everybody else gets a house and I don't, that kind of thing. And suddenly there's this realization of that dream. It's almost like allowing yourself to admit to yourself what that really looks like for you. And there's a sense of really moving from the mental plane to the emotional one, to where you sit with your not only your heart on your sleeve, but your heart prominently out there. And you sit there strongly saying, I've gone through all of this stuff, but I know truly what my heart yearns for. And I'm going to lead from that place from this point forward. And I'm going to look at what truly nourishes me. And I'm ready to commit to that. Now, with the Queen of Wands, beautiful energy. This is your third underlying energy. This is getting into the energy of here I am. It's like pulling off that cape or that cloak and showing your shiniest, most beautiful self and saying, I'm ready. I'm ready to show who I am. I'm ready to go for my dreams. I'm ready to show up authentically and unapologetically as myself. And I'm ready to bloom where I'm planted. Doesn't mean that you might not be maybe making that decision to move or to do something along those lines, but you're prepared this time to not only be physically invested in something, but it's the emotional investment that's going to give you that confidence this time around. When we are emotionally invested in something because we know it meets our needs, we know we're chasing that dream that is ours, that's when we get to that beautiful place of really understanding our own power, and the power that comes when we have emotional connection and intent behind every action that we take. And that's how we really stand in our power. Okay, so Sagittarius, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull two final cards for you guys. So I'm going to pull one from this new deck I've been working with, which is let's see, what is this? The Wild Elemental Oracle, which I've been really appreciating. It's always nice to get something fresh in your work materials, which these are mine. Ooh, that's a few too many. Let's see if we can just get one. There we go. Fox. Okay, let's see what Fox is about. I'm going to read the little excerpt because I'm still learning these cards. So I get to learn them as you get to see them as well. All right. So it's number 39, and it is associated with the element of air. And it says Fox attributes. It says shape-shifting, cleverness, observational skills, cunning, stealth, camouflage, feminine courage, invisibility, ability to observe unseen, persistence, gentleness, and swiftness. It says when Fox bounds into your life, she is showing you that you have the ability to solve any problem. Use all of your skills to find the answer. She can lead you to a new way of seeing the solution. Have patience and do not rush the answer, but stay quiet until you are sure you can solve the problem. Gather all the information you need. You will see the issue for what it really is, to see behind the masks and illusions. And I think that's exactly what you guys have been doing with this the Page of Swords. You've been gathering that information. You've been looking at what needs to be released. You've been looking at what is in your cup. What are those needs you need to have met? What is the dream in your heart that you're waiting for? But you've been doing that kind of soul searching. And again, gathering the information, trying to see what you want to leave behind. And if you are going to make this decision, Two of Wands, to walk away from something, then you really need to have that idea of what you're walking towards and that emotional connection and investment to it. Now, I like how it says, again, the stealth, the camouflage, feminine courage, ability to observe unseen. I think for many of you, you have been doing this behind the scenes. You might have been, again, building a business or getting information maybe about something new that you want to move into, a new way of commitment, a new way of making money, going after somebody you love, buying a house, something along those lines. And now it's like, okay, it's time to officially commit and share. But it's like, when I think about being unseen, it's almost like you guys, Sagittarius, that for a while you've been walking around with that cloak on. You've been kind of just moving maybe between different social circles, or, maybe you've been moving between different, work environments. And suddenly now it's like time to pull off that cloak and say, here I am. This is my decision. This is my choice. This is what I'm going for. And it's because I love it. It's because my heart is yearning for it. Okay, I'll pull one final card here. And then we'll wrap up your reading. All right, Sagittarius. Okay, so we have, spiritual service, number 21. Beautiful. Let's see what wants to come through here. So number 21. It says, self-doubt can be a habit that is hard to break. It can slow down your spiritual progress and the fulfillment of your life purpose. Ultimately, it won't stop you, but it can make your progress seem more challenging. It's easier to fulfill your purpose when you acknowledge your own goodness and talent and do what you love to the best of your ability. Realize that you are enough, that your work is good, and that you have something of value to offer. It is time to let go of fear of failure, concern about your ability, and your right to live a happy and fulfilled life of success. The universe believes in you. You are being called to service beyond that which you have accomplished thus far. That is because you are ready, capable, and willing to step up to another level of spiritual responsibility and freedom. Your mind, however, may question your ability. You may be afraid that you cannot perform well enough, that you are not skilled or experienced enough, that you are not as good as others, or that you do not have enough value to offer. It is time to recognize this wounding and not empower these beliefs as truths anymore. Be kind to your mind. It will be happier without such beliefs. You can free yourself from the pain they cause and become more realistic about your gifts and your potential. Now it is time for you to trust love more than your wounds. As you release these old beliefs, you create more space within you to receive impressions of how you can most joyfully serve the greater good. No longer hampered by undermining and draining beliefs and self-doubt, you will have more energy to act on your intuition and guidance. If at any time you find yourself blocked by fear or performance anxiety, it can be helpful to release these blocks by simply asking yourself how you could best serve the greater good at this time. The answer to this question will never be to shrink back in fear. It will always be to choose belief over doubt. It will be to move ahead, to make the opportunity offered to you as a vote of confidence from the universe. This realization will bring you peace of mind so you can resume your progress and share what you have with the world. If you've been working hard, taking the opportunities that have come to you and are still feeling as though you are not quite where you wish to be in terms of fulfilling your life purpose and divine destiny, you are now asked to acknowledge all that you have attained so far. Acknowledge all the people you have assisted in your own special way. All the positive influence of love that you have added to the collective human soul through your willingness to take your spiritual journey, open your heart, and care about life on earth. Your spiritual service has been noticed by the spiritual worlds, and you'll be empowered to serve in increasingly beautiful ways. Your service is already successful and will only increase in potency, power, and peace. All right, I will leave it there for you, Sagittarius. It's beautiful energy to end this reading on, but also to start the new year with. So I really wish you much luck in your commitment to a dream and to really committing to your heart and allowing that to guide the way and to allow your full fiery self to finally be seen in the pursuit of this new dream. All right, I will leave it all there. I hope, again, you have a wonderful rest of your day, Sagittarius. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click the link on the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in your next illumination reading. Bye.